Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. All right, everybody. If you watched Monday's show, I told you that this show was not going to be here at in front of my stage because I was supposed to be in Nashville, Tennessee right now. But of course, I was flying Southwest, so they canceled my flight. And so I did not get out this week to go see my family. Very bummed about it. They have sort of started flights again today, but I hear the airport's a zoo, and I'm not going anywhere near it. I want to see my family, but I don't want the bullshit of what's going on at all these airports. And F Southwest for doing that. Terrible. I mean, at least I was stuck at home. A lot of people were stuck in between flights, and, so it was just a clusterfuck. So I decided, no. So, yeah, I wasn't happy when I got that email saying that my flight was canceled. So, anyways, all right. So, let's do some talking about our Chicago Bears. We know that this is the second to last game. It's in Detroit. The Bears are 3-12. We know that, and Detroit is 7-8. So, and Detroit really needs to win this game because they're trying to go to the playoffs. So they're going to be showing up to play. So these teams, first time they met was in 1930, and the Lions were actually the Portsmouth Spartans, and they were based in Portsmouth, Ohio. Then they moved to Detroit in 1934. And the Bears and the Lions have been division rivals since 1933. They played 185 times, and the Bears are leading they have 104 wins to Detroit's 76 wins, and they've had 5 ties. So, and the Bears are on an 8-game losing streak. This is the longest losing streak in their history, franchise history. Should be nice to break it on Sunday, wouldn't it? But the Bears have to play air-free football on all aspects, offense, defense, and special teams, especially special teams. But, our defensive line is terrible. So let me get into the few stats that I do every week, and then we'll get talking. So the Bears, as they have been all season, they are dead last in the passing category they're averaging 136 yards a pass, dead last, 32nd. Detroit is averaging 254 yards passing. That puts them 8th in the league. Yeah. Bit of a troublesome for the Bears. They're still in first place in the rush. They have an average of 197 yards a game, which puts them number 1. Detroit can run the ball. They average about 120 yards a game, and that puts them 16th in the league. So we beat them in the rush, but they handily beat us in the pass. So, okay. And then points scored. The Bears are averaging 20 points a game, which is not good. But that does not put them in last. There's worse teams. That puts them 22nd in the league. Detroit's averaging 26 points a game, and that puts them 5th in the league. Another problem for the Bears. Points given up by the defense. Both teams are bad at this. We have been giving up an average of 26 points a game. That puts us 31st in the league. And Detroit is giving up 26.7 points a game, and that puts them 32nd. So we're right there, second to last and last in points allowed. So that should be interesting. So, they pretty much are beating us in most of the categories. So Fields, as we know, is not going to have as good as numbers as Goff, but Fields has got 2,167 yards passing, 16 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. He has rushed for, and is the leading rusher on the Bears. He's rushed for 1,011 yards, 1,011. Been sacked 48 times. He is second in the league of sacks. Russell Wilson is first with 49. So Justin has 48 right behind him. Goff, the quarterback for the Detroit Lions, He has 3,959 yards, 3,959 yards, a lot more than we do. He's got 26 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions. So that's a great ratio. Let's see if we can't turn that around, huh? And pick them off, because, the Bears have been on a roll. With the last 2 games, previous 2 games, they have 6 turnovers. Yeah, the Bears defense called 6 turnovers, which is awesome. We got to keep that up. But the only bad part about that is, out of the 6 turnovers, we've only on offense scored 10 points out of those 6 turnovers. And if your defense is going to get you that many turnovers, 3 in each game, you better score more. The first game they had 3 2 weeks ago. They had 3 turnovers. They scored a touchdown off of one of them. And then last week, they only got 3 points off of one of those turnovers. And I'm digging the turnovers, because we really kind of went stale in the season. We started out good, and then we didn't. Of course, we're missing some key players in the backfield. But because Eddie Jackson's been out for quite a while now, and then we know Jalen Johnson is also now on the IR. Let's see if we can increase his interceptions. He's got only 66 yards running, 6'6". So we're not worried about him. We're worried about their running backs. He's been sacked 21 times. Our leading running back is, as I said, Justin, with 1,011 yards. Then David Montgomery comes in with 756 yards, 5 touchdowns. He has missed 1 game this year, so he's only played 14 games. And then Herbert is back in the mix again. He's got 650 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and he's only played 11 games. Their leading rusher as Williams. He has 850 yards rushing for Detroit with 14 touchdowns. And then their second leading rusher is Swift with 439, and he has 4 touchdowns. So, they're pretty even when it comes to that. When it comes to our running game, we're going to be very even with Detroit. This is where they're going to blow us out of the water. Our leading receiver is still Mr. Mooney, and he's not even playing. He's on IR. He played 12 games, and he has 493 yards. So he's still our leading rusher and hasn't played. That's not a good sign, and this is not a good sign either. Our second leading rusher is our tight end, Clement, which I'm glad that he has stepped up. 460 yards, and he has 5 touchdowns. I'd like to see that increase. And then our third leading receiver, or second leading receiver that's active, is David Montgomery, our running back, and he has 304 receiving touchdowns in the air, and 304 receiving yards in the air, and 1 touchdown. So, that's just, it's not good when your tight end is leading. Well, it's really not good when a guy who's inactive is still leading the pack, and then your next one is your tight end, and then your third one is a running back. That says it right there. Now, the Detroit, their leading receiver is St. Brown, and if his name sounds familiar, it's because he is the brother of our wide receiver, St. Brown. So, and he's very good. So he's got 1,050 yards in the air receiving with 6 touchdowns. And then their next leading receiver is Raymond, and he has 510 receiving in the air catches. And then Reynolds is third with 458, and he has 3 touchdowns. And I was looking at it, at all their receivers. Goff likes to spread it around. They had about 6 receivers with in the hundreds receiving. So a lot of them were around 200 to 300. So he likes to spread the ball around. So I suspect he'll be doing that a lot on Sunday. Okay, the defense. Now the Bears, this is where we have our big problems, as we all know. The Bears have 18 sacks to Detroit's 30 sacks. So here we go again, Justin. You got a team that can sack, but we've got some defensive guys coming, offensive guys coming back. So Jenkins, our right guard on the O-line, and Whitehair on our O-line are both back this week off of injured reserve. So that's really good. That's going to help Justin a lot. So we'll see. So protect your quarterback on Sunday so he can throw the ball. Okay, Bears? Okay, so the Bears have 13 interceptions with Detroit's 10 interceptions, so we beat them on that. We have 16 forced fumbles, and we've recovered 8 of them. Detroit has 13 forced fumbles, and they've recovered 8 of them. So we're kind of even there. As I said, though, the Bears in the last 2 previous games had 6 turnovers on defense, but our offense could only turn it into 10 points, so not so good. So those are the stats. I told you that Whitehair and Jenkins are back on the O-line. Thank goodness. Our wide receivers, Claypool and St. Brown, as of today, Friday, they did practice today, but it was limited. So that's probably going to be a game day decision if either one of them play, and we sure would like to see both of them playing because Justin needs them. Pettis was on limited play as of today, and Weatherford, our linebacker, did not participate. So, but the good news is we've got our offensive line back somewhat healthy, so that's huge. So, as I said, the Lions need to win this game to stay in the playoff hunt, and they do score points because they're 5th in the league on that, and but they also give up a lot of points because they're 32nd. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, last week's game was terrible. The Bears played terrible. As I said on Monday's show, they looked lethargic. They looked like they didn't want to be out there, and that was the first time I've seen that all season. I saw that a lot last year on the last, under that idiot coach, but not so much this year. So I'm hoping that they get that energy back for today, Sunday's game, because it sure would be nice to get a win this week or next week to end the season on a high note. The last time that Detroit and the Bears played in Soldier Field this year, the game was 31-30. As we know, Santos missed an extra point, which we could have gone to overtime. Who knows what would have happened, but the Bears pretty much fell apart in that game. They should have won that game handily. They started out strong the first 3 quarters, rocking and rolling, fell apart again in the 4th quarter. They shot themselves in the foot with penalties and stupid mistakes. So, the Bears have to play all 4 quarters, not 3, but 4, and they've got to play error-free football. Now, we are missing some, we're missing key players and will be the rest of the year. Eddie Jackson is out, Mr. Mooney, our wide receiver, Jalen Johnson, JJ, our backfield guy. So Eddie and JJ are out, and they have been out for a while. So Detroit's going to have the upper hand, and they're going to have the upper hand because our defensive line is god-awful. It sucks. I mean, I told you on Monday's show that from the Sunday game, the majority of the tackles on defense were the linebackers and the backfield. They had the most tackles. The guys on the line had like 1, 2 maybe. That is not a good sign, people. Not at all. So if you're a defensive line, they're the first players to go after the offense on the other team, and then they're just, it's one thing to not be it's one thing to be just kind of good or kind of bad, but they are beyond kind of bad. They're terrible. They cannot stop anything. I don't think they could stop a bunny rabbit walking across the field. I really don't. So, as I said, error-free football and Santos, you can't be missing any extra points or field goals, okay? That's what I'm saying. So, the Bears are just going to have to really show up. I don't even know what to say because with that defensive line playing so poorly, it is just a real thorn in our on the team's side because then the other guys in the backfield, middle of the linebackers and the backfield guys, they're running all over the place, so we know, I'm pretty sure that Detroit's going to come out and run first, pass second, because of our terrible defensive line. And but we are missing guys in the backfield. But I gotta say, the backfield guys, even with guys been out, these second stringers. You got Gordon back, you got Brisker, but the other guys, Valdor, I think is going to be playing. The other guys are, second stringers, and they've really been holding their own, so they're not the problem. I did hear this week that Coach Flus was going to try to mix things up, mix the players up these last 2 games to see what he's got. I mean, he might as well. And the other thing is I wanted to address, people have been talking about I've been reading sitting Justin Fields. Are you nuts? Why would you want to sit Justin Fields now? He's got 2 games left. He needs reps after reps after reps. He needs experience reading the defenses. He needs experience, people. Do not shut him down. We need him to be throwing the ball. That's what we need. If we can at all get a pass game going, that would be awesome. But we actually have to get the running game going too, because last week was the first week this season that we were held under 100 yards rushing. So we don't want that to happen this week. It's not going to be 100 degrees below zero because we're in an indoor stadium, so that's not going to be a problem. So they got to really, really get going here. And and that's why you want to play Justin, because it needs every bit he can get. So next year, when he comes out and has an offensive line that can hopefully hold people and has some wide receivers that can really go up and snatch that ball out of the air, then we're going to be golden, okay? So this week, and then we to win the game, as I said, no errors, and in my top threes, penalties, time of possession, and turnovers. So as I always say, 5 or less penalties. I believe you have 5 or less penalties, you have a chance to win the game or win the game. You're in the game. If you have more, forget it. And that's been a problem the last 4 games or so with the Bears, is their penalties have gone up. Except for last week, it was not bad, but that's what killed me. I think we only had 2 accepted penalties, and they had 9, the Bills, and look what they did to us. So that kind of, my theory, right out the window. Time of possession, you always want to win time of possession. I mean, that's obvious. I say this every week, you know it, because it keeps their offense off the field, it keeps their defense on the field, it keeps our offense on the field and our defense off the field so they can rest up. So, and then turnovers. But the thing is, in the last 2 games, the Bears have won the turnover battle handily, but they're not scoring points off of it. So that becomes the problem. If your defense is getting you the ball and getting their offense off the field, that's the one good thing. But you got to score some points. So, but it just shows that this team, we have a quarterback that from the beginning of this season, I have seen Fields improve tremendously. Now, his lack of whatever is more to do with the line not giving him time to throw, and then the wide receivers just not either getting open, or when they do, they don't catch it. We don't have any wide receivers that will go up and just snatch a ball, an uncontested ball, and just take it. You watch other games and you see these wide receivers and these catches these guys make. Last week we did. Jones, 12, had a great catch, great pass and catch between 2 defenders. We need stuff like that. But the problem is with the Bears this season, I don't think Justin has hit anybody in the stride. And that's what good teams do. These good quarterbacks, the really good ones, the Allens, the Bradys, that idiot in Green Bay, Mahomes, they all, when they get their quarter, when they're passing, they get their wide receivers in stride, and these guys sometimes score touchdowns. They get a lot of yards. I just haven't seen that this year, so that's why you need better wide receivers, because when he's getting the balls, they get tackled right away. I mean, it's great that, they caught the ball and we got yards and probably a first down, but you want to get these guys in stride. So that's a big thing. They're going to have to work with Justin and the wide receivers for the next year, because you can get those guys in stride, man. You are going to score points. I guarantee it. So that's another reason why you don't want to sit Justin Fields, because he does need the experience. And every rep he gets is and I know he doesn't want to either. This kid is a gamer, and I'm just impressed with him. From top to bottom. I was a little worried in the beginning of the season, but as the season's gone on, you can see the improvement. You can see the confidence he has in himself, and he's starting to believe. Now we just have to give him those tools that he desperately needs, and then season 2023, which is around the corner, the year is, we're going to be rocking and rolling, but we won't get into that too much. So, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know a win would be huge for the Bears. We obviously it's not going to help us in the standings or anything like that, and I don't care right now. We're going to be in the top 5 in draft picks, so I don't care about that right now. I just think this team, and Justin in particular, needs a win for his confidence level, knowing they're going to go into it next year. I mean, you got to give Coach Flus a lot of credit. He says these guys are still all in. They're buying into his philosophies, and they're playing with their heads held high. And you got to give them a lot of credit, because they only have 3 wins. And out of those 12 losses, there was maybe at least 4 off the top of my head that the Bears should have won, and that could be very defeating. But they really have gone out there and played. They just don't have the talent in certain areas to complete the task. D-line, wide receivers, O-line. And I think it's in that order now. I would have said in the beginning of the year O-line, D-line, wide receivers, but now it's D-line, wide receivers, O-line. Those are the top 3 they got to take care of. And then we want to get some other people, but those are the top 3s. My other top 3s, right? So, but let's see. I just really would love a win, wouldn't you? I mean, I know this town would. I mean, hardly anybody's watching my show now. I'm only averaging about 55 people a show, and that tells you. And this happened last year until my viewership went down as the season went down, and I get it. No one wants to hear about the Bears anymore. And then my viewership flew on when they fired that idiot and the GM. I had like 500 views on that show. So, but that's okay. Hey, listen. I do this show because I love the Bears all. And by the way, I am wearing my Walter jersey today, hoping maybe I could bring a little luck to this game on Sunday. Luck be a lady tonight. Luck be a lady. Let the Bears beat Detroit in Detroit on Sunday. That didn't even rhyme. Hopefully it made you laugh, right? Because you know what, I got to tell you, it's been a rough week with not being able to go see my family. First time I've not been with my family, at least all of them or half of them. I stayed here in Vegas this year because of my grandson's first Christmas, and it was awesome being with him. But I really miss my family a lot, and so... You know what? I was sick right before Thanksgiving with the RSV, and then it went through Thanksgiving. I got it like a week before Thanksgiving, and then I had it for 3 weeks. Missed Thanksgiving dinner, and then Christmas Eve and Christmas, it was okay. I just missed my family, my whole family. I mean, I was with my son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandson and her family. So, all right. You don't want to really hear about me and my woes on the holiday. I just hope you all had a great Christmas, as I said earlier. And I really love you guys. I appreciate you watching. I did not do a live podcast with my buddy Dan this week. We skipped it because I thought I was going to be out of town, and it didn't, and it was just like, forget it. But we will be back next Wednesday on our podcast, and his tag is Bears Country Podcast. And the title is The Down Low with Dan Lynn. So check us out. I think from what he's saying, we're going to have some fun on that show. I don't know what he has lined up. I'm a little scared, but he says I'm going to like it. So check it out. Of course, I will be back on Monday after our victory on Sunday, and then I can sing you the victory song. Right on. And I'll do that show. I'll see you Monday after the game, and it is at noon, and it's in Detroit. And you know what? The Bears, we all know what they need to do, people. We all know what they need to do. So let's see them do it. Let's break this freaking 8-game lose streak, okay? You know what? I've had not a great week. I'm not with my family like I should be. I should be watching the game with my sister in Tennessee on Sunday, but I won't be. So, Bears, you need to give me a win. Yeah, actually, you need to give all of us a win, all us Bears fans, because we're all, we need it. We need it just as bad as the Bears do. My hair. I'm playing with it. See, pickled. Anyways, and I know there was something else I want to tell you, but if I don't put it down on paper, I'm going to forget it. Because, again, it is pickled. 64 years, well, I haven't been partying for 64 years, but probably 42 years I've been partying. So, does tend to pickle the brain. And 64, half the time I don't know what day it is. The other half I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. The only way I know what day it is on my pill box. And if you have to have a pill box for all your pills each day, you're taking a lot of them, okay? Yep. Pharmaceutical companies love your announcer, Lynn. Okay, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but I do hope everyone has an awesome New Year's celebration. Be safe and smart. Do not drink and drive. Listen, when I was younger, I got behind the wheel too many times when I had too many of these, and thank God for my guardian angels, but I don't do that anymore. And there's just so much more traffic on the road. Just be smart and safe, please. If you're partying at a friend's house or you're out at a bar and you've had too much to drink, just call an Uber. Come on. You know what? It's part of your expense of going out, so be safe. I want everybody who watches me to have a great 2023 year. So I want everybody to go into it safe, happy, and safe. And you want to be kind moving forward. You want to, help people out. Stop hate. Help somebody if they're struggling, if you see somebody. And when you're out and about, smile. It's much easier to smile, and it's amazing what you can do to somebody if they're just kind of lumbering around at the grocery store, whatever, and you smile at them. I see so many people who are like, yeah, and they smile back like, wow, that was nice. It is nice, and it's a good thing to do. So let's start out 2023 on a high note. Bears win. And all you awesome people out there, treat your fellow human being on this earth with kindness, love, and compassion. And if we had that every single day, this United States, this world would be better off. But we know how that goes. So I just love you all. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you watching me. So I know I have these regulars out there, and they do watch. I have some friends that watch me, Peggy. There's my sister-in-law's son lives in Indiana, Robbie. Hello, he watches me from Indiana, and my son even told me that there's his wife's friend. They live in Vegas. They saw my show on Facebook, and they're like, Hayden, and then they're like, she looks familiar, and they realized it was me, Michael's I'm his mother. And so they're watching too. So, Ashley, you and your husband, thank you. So, I just like to, once in a while, I'll give a call out if I can. I love everybody. And did I say Peggy was the other friend? Yes, Peggy watches me, even though she doesn't really watch football. But I appreciate it, all of you. I have very loyal subscribers, and I've had them for the last 3 years. And, let's stick together. Season's coming to an end. Let's get a victory on Sunday and celebrate the new year the proper way with a W. Yeah, baby. Okay. I love you. I'll see you guys on Monday, hopefully with the victory song. And be safe. And on that note, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Bye-bye to 2022.